Thanks for joining us again on What Matters This Week. I'm Lauren Maloney. With me this Sunday is Anna Nasset. She is the host of this new podcast called The Mend. Anna, I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
Now, this is a unique podcast. People can also watch it on the Mad River Valley Public Access TV. I saw a couple episodes on YouTube, so it's there for people to see as well. But this is a tie-in with the Center for Crime Victim Services.
Correct.
And it's basically getting the word out, helping people who have been victims of crime. That's what the center does. But why a podcast? What made you come to this decision?
The idea was started by the executive director for the Center for Crime Victim Services. Her name is Chris Fenno. And she had approached me with this concept of doing a podcast. She'd been on a road trip with her partner and had been listening to a podcast for the first time and thought, maybe this is something that we could do. So she kind of put the bug in my ear, and I started doing research and found out that there wasn't really anybody doing a podcast that was talking about services for victims and survivors of crime. So we thought this was something we could maybe take on and see if it would catch here in the state and hopefully nationally as well. And then Mad River TV also approached me to do a show, so we put the two together to just have one product.
What kind of, there are so many victims of crime, is there a particular area that you're zoning in on to help people?
Not necessarily. We really want to be as open as we can to include all victims of crime. So future episodes will be looking at restorative justice, elder abuse, legal aid, all sorts of things like that. We, tend to, the first few episodes have been more in the sexual assault realm. So that is definitely a theme. But we want to be really open and include everyone in the conversation so that they can get the resources they need and the assistance they need no matter where they're at.
I had said it's titled The Mend. How did you come to that name?
For me, I have a background in quilting, and so I've always loved this concept of quilting, like you're stitching together and you're mending as you're doing that. You're stitching together pieces to create this bigger, beautiful patchwork. So the initial thought for me came kind of out of my own background, but then combining with the fact that we are trying to mend. No matter where we are at in our lives, we're trying to mend, we're trying to heal, we're trying to move forward and create that big, beautiful patchwork again.
Wow, it's double meaning there. I appreciate that. Very good. How many episodes do you hope to launch here?
So we're going to be doing this for a year at least, and we're going to be doing 24 episodes over the next year. So we'll be releasing one every 2 weeks, or roughly on the 1st and 15th of the month.
Okay, so there are a couple out there already. What can people expect for the first two that they listen to or so?
The first one is my interview with the executive director for the Center for Crime Victim Services. And so it's her and I talking about how we came up with this idea, and then talking about what the center does specifically, so that people start to learn more about the work that they do. The second episode, we kind of did a unique thing, and I told my personal story of being a victim and survivor of crime, just so that people have a little bit more understanding of who I am as the host, and so that they know that moving forward. But from there, we've recorded a few more. I have a friend named Kelly Rizzitano from the Vermont Network for Sexual and Domestic Violence. She's on there talking about healing and about listening. I've done another episode with the folks from VineLink, which is an app and website used for victim notification. So that's something that people use whenever an offender is released or moved from custody. You get a notification from this app. And those folks are in Kentucky, so I was able to just do a Skype phone interview with them. So we're going to keep it, things that are available here in Vermont, but also bring in voices from all around the country with national organizations and products that can help any victim of crime or family member of a crime victim.
Yeah, and caregiver, family member, we should mention, in some instances are just as important as, they are receiving information as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we want this to be something that isn't just for service providers within this field, but is for community members, so they can educate themselves if they are a caregiver or if their neighbor is a victim of crime, just so that we can keep having that conversation and opening up that larger and all educating ourselves.
People will learn in the second episode your story, but do you want to share a little bit with our viewers right now about how, unfortunately, your personal story lends to this?
Yes, I've been the victim of stalking for the last 8 years by a man I do not know. And so I resided in Washington State before I moved here, and I moved here 3 years ago to try and find safety and freedom from that situation. But unfortunately that did not happen, and he continued to stalk me. And so from that I went into this really deep place of hiding in my life. I moved to Vermont and nobody really knew who I was or what I was doing. I was just this quiet girl upstairs, and nobody really understood what quite I did with my life. And through working with the Center for Crime Victim Services, I started to really find my voice within that and move my field into the victim service field, and have been really honored to do that and to make something good and positive happen out of this really horrific experience.
Do you find that not enough Vermonters may know what the Center for Crime Victim Services does and how it helps people?
I think that a lot of people don't know until they need it.
Unfortunately.
And that's the case for so many organizations here in the state or nationally. So what the center really does is they handle restitution, compensation, education, training. They're working at the legislature, so they do a lot of different things. And along with that, they're kind of the overarching umbrella for our state that has all of the other service providing agencies underneath it.
Okay. You mentioned right off the start, the first few minutes of the podcast, basically with a trigger warning that you understand that some words, some instances may be difficult for people to, rehear. Who came to that decision that was something that needed to be mentioned at the start of every podcast?
It's something that I do whenever I'm publicly speaking, because I think it's really important that I might say something or give out information and not know that somebody in the audience might have a direct experience with that. So I think we're finding often in this work, and more so, that before we start to talk about these subjects, it's important to offer a trigger warning, just to let somebody know that, hey, there might be something in here that's going to affect you emotionally. So I just think that's an important thing that seems to be happening more and more within this field as there's presenters, as there's story. We hear it on the news, if there's going to be a graphic thing, and I think it's important language.
Sure. What has the reaction been so far? I know so far the second episode has been very personal, but what are you hearing from people, on a large scale about, how this is helping them?
We're still just getting the word out, so thank you for having us
Sure.
on here. But the response has been really, really positive. I was just last week in Arizona getting ready to speak and got a text from a friend in Washington who was like, I just listened, this is amazing. So for me, on that small personal level, it's awesome. But just people in my own newsletter and stuff like that are commenting back to me, this is great, we're so excited, giving me ideas for future episodes and passing it around. Even my legal team out in Washington, my own attorney was like, I'm going to print up a card and have it so I can hand it to everyone and all my staff can listen to this. So
Wow.
That's really cool to me that service providers are then wanting to hand it off to their team as well, so that everyone can keep educating and learning.
Are you also picking up ideas for, themes for other episodes and how you can tie it all together?
Absolutely, and that's either coming through the center, they send me information, people stop me and tell me, or they email me, and just friends that I've had in this field now are like, oh, I want to come on, so that's really exciting. I mean, I hope we can go far beyond 24 episodes, so yeah, I think that it's an ongoing subject that's always going to change, and we just can keep adding to it. I think every episode we filmed could have been twice as long.
Yeah.
So it's
And you had mentioned, you want to make one also about music and how music is healing, and the type of music people may listen to just to escape.
Yeah, we want to look at not just direct services, but other things people use for healing, whether that be like yoga and acupuncture or exercise, or as I said, music. I have a call out right now, and the center does as well on their Facebook page, to tell us your favorite songs that you've used to heal, or you've used to like amp up if you have to go into court or trial or just need that energy to get you through the day. What do you use? And then we're going to do a podcast about that and release those playlists on Spotify.
Oh, great.
So that other people can access them too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, the podcast is called The Mend. You can also watch it on YouTube through the Mad River Valley Public Access TV. Anna, I really appreciate you being here. I think you're doing, a great service to people in Vermont.
Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be right back on What Matters This Week.